Welcome to Adult Sabbath School Podcast. Please subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend, and write any questions or comments you have below.
When a crisis hits, what's your first instinct? It's to find shelter, right? To get somewhere you'll be protected from whatever danger is out there.
For us today, that might be a storm cellar during a tornado or some kind of reinforced shelter. These are places built to save lives when every single second counts. And that fundamental human need for a safe haven, well, that's exactly where our story begins.
To really get why these ancient cities were so important, we first have to understand the problem they were designed to fix, and that problem was a deeply ingrained custom known as private vengeance. Now, this wasn't just a suggestion. This was the law of the land. If someone was killed, their closest family member, the avenger of blood, had the legal and social right to hunt down the killer and execute them right on the spot. No judge, no jury.
And here's the real kicker. The system, at first glance, didn't make a distinction between a cold-blooded murder and a total tragic accident. If you caused someone's death, that was it. The avenger was coming for you, and your life instantly turned into a desperate race for survival.
So how do you inject mercy into a culture built on vengeance? Well, you create a safe haven. You create a place where the frantic race can finally end and something else can begin. Due process. So let's look at how these cities actually worked.
The solution was a network of specially designated cities, and there were exactly 6 of them, 6 Levitical cities set apart to serve as cities of refuge.
And what's just incredible is the amount of thought that went into their design. I mean, these weren't just random spots on a map. You had 3 on each side of the Jordan River, placed so strategically that nobody was more than about a half-day's journey away from one. The roads leading to them were kept in perfect condition, and they even had signposts, literal signs, pointing the way and saying refuge. This wasn't some theoretical idea. It was a practical system built for someone in a full-blown panic running for their life. And get this, it was open to everyone.
So picture this, you finally get there, out of breath. What happens next? First, you flee, no delays. As soon as you reach the city gates, you have to state your case to the city elders. That leads to a proper trial in front of the whole community. And only if they determined you were innocent of intentional murder were you granted protection inside those city walls.
And this is how we know these places were centers of real justice, not just hiding spots. The trial wasn't a joke. You couldn't be convicted based on just one person's testimony. And crucially, the judges dug into the motive, the why. Was this a horrible accident, or did you have a grudge against this person? That distinction, that was the heart of the whole system. Justice for the guilty, but mercy for the unintentional.
There was one very, very important rule, though. A huge catch. Your safety was conditional. If you stepped 1 foot outside the city's designated limits, the Avenger of Blood was legally free to kill you. Your refuge was only a refuge if you stayed inside.
So how did this all end? You could live your life in the city perfectly safe, but you were essentially living in exile, separated from your home, your family, your land. Full freedom, the ability to go home without looking over your shoulder, that was only granted when the current high priest died. His death acted as a kind of national reset, a moment of amnesty for everyone living in all the cities of refuge. But this whole complex system of laws and geography, it was seen as something more. It wasn't just about physical walls and rules. It was a living, breathing picture of a spiritual reality.
The sources we're drawing from make this parallel completely explicit. They propose that this entire merciful provision was designed as a symbol, an object lesson pointing toward a totally different kind of refuge.
So let's break this down, because the parallels are really direct. The slayer running for his life, that's a picture of the sinner. The avenger of blood hot on his heels, that symbolizes condemnation and spiritual attack. Fleeing to the safety of the city becomes an image of coming to Christ for pardon. And this is the big one. Staying inside the walls is a direct parallel to the idea of abiding or remaining in that spiritual safety.
And when you look at it through that lens, all those practical details about the physical cities take on a whole new layer of meaning. Just like they were open to absolutely everyone, this spiritual refuge shows no partiality. Just as they were always close by, this help is always accessible. And there's that crucial point again. A quick visit wasn't enough. You had to live there. You had to abide there to be safe.
So this is where the whole concept shifts from ancient history and becomes something really personal. It turns into a story about repentance and what it means to find forgiveness.
And this is a point we absolutely cannot miss. The cities of refuge were not created for innocent people. They were built for the culpable, for people who had actually, even if accidentally, taken a human life. They were for people who were guilty and desperately needed to be saved from the consequences.
Now, a key part of entering this spiritual refuge, according to our sources, is repentance. And it's defined here as something much deeper than just feeling sorry you got caught. It's a genuine sorrow that actually causes you to turn away from the wrong thing you did.
And you know, there's probably no better example of this than King David himself. Here was a man who was a murderer, an adulterer. His actions were way beyond accidental. And yet in this incredibly famous psalm, you can just hear his cry. He isn't running to a physical city. He's running straight to God for mercy.
David owned his guilt. He repented deeply, and because of that, the prophet Nathan could tell him, "The Lord has put away your sin, you shall not die." He sought the ultimate refuge, and he found it, becoming this powerful example of the whole principle in action. So, we're left with this final thought to chew on. This ancient system was truly remarkable, a beautiful blend of justice and mercy that offered a temporary, conditional safety. And it really makes you think, in the face of our own mistakes, our own failures, what does it truly mean to find a refuge that isn't temporary, but is unconditional and absolutely permanent?
Thanks for watching. See you next time.